Have you ever thought what design would look like if open source does not exist? Imagine there's no free icons, no free images, no Figma libraries, no Google material system. Just imagine how much effort we are going to put in our work to do all the designs we do every day. To do all the designs we do every day. But here is the thing. Designers have always been part of open source, but just quietly. We have been using all these shared resources for our designs. But the thing is, nobody even told us to contribute to open source in a more structured way like this. I mean, through platforms like GitHub or even GitLab. And there's this myth floating on around that you have to be a developer to contribute to open source or even know how to code to contribute to open source. But all these things are changing. Designers are now being part of the conversation, and we need to take our seats right at that table. In my talk titled The Heart of Innovation, Designers Leading Open Source, is going to explore how designers are not just participants in open source, but also drivers of innovations. We're also going to explore how designers can drive innovation in open source, as well as the challenges and how to overcome them, and the opportunities in open source. Lastly, I've created a list of resources for you to explore later in your free time. But before we get right into all this, let me introduce myself and what I do at the African KPI community. Hello, everyone. My name is Aishat Muibudeen. The community knows me as Maya. I'm the lead design maintainer at ASIN KPI community, where I maintain three repositories, the conference website, the website, and the brand. In addition to this, I'm also part of the Code of Conduct committee and also a member of the Technical Steering Committee. I've been volunteering to this awesome community for over 3 years, where I've been able to develop and enhance both my design and research skills. In my free time, I love watching movies. I love watching movies and I also like playing games. In addition, I also love writing. Writing for me is like a very good way for me to pour out my emotions. Enough about me. Now let's get right into the agenda of today. On my agenda, we have familiarizing yourself with open source. What does open source mean? And why should we even care as designers? We also have how designers can drive innovations in open source. Also, I have barriers in OSS and how you can overcome them. Opportunities, what are the opportunities in open source that you get as a designer? Like contributing to open source is going to open so many doors to different opportunities. And we're going to summarize all these things on the agenda, as well as the resources that I mentioned earlier. Open source. What does open source even mean? Open source is a software whose code is freely available for everybody to use, modify, enhance, contribute to. But the thing is, not all open source projects are free. Some actually comes with the paid options. Imagine open source like this. We are working on a design project, right? Maybe we are designing a website or even building a design system. We need a UX researcher to understand what the users need. We need a visual designer to manage the icons, typographies, and all of that. We need a developer to write our code. We need a UX writer to do microcopy and even write documentation. Everybody is focusing on their own puzzle piece. As a designer, I'm not going to mess with what the developer is doing as long as I don't even know what is going on with the code. And as a UX writer or a UX researcher, I'm not going to mess with what the developer is doing. Same with the developer here. That's exactly how open source works. Everybody is working towards a shared goal. a shared goal to make sure the software they are working on is freely available for everybody to use and enhance. But we should know that not all, or as I've said, not all open source projects are free. Some come with the paid option. So why should we care? As a designer, why should we care in this ecosystem? Why should we even contribute to it? Open source is not just about code. It's about transparency, collaboration, teamwork. It's about bringing people together from different perspectives, different backgrounds, different religion to come together and work towards a shared and common goal. But we should know that open source is also the backbone of our digital economy. From the internet, from the infrastructure, from the internet infrastructure we rely on to the tools powering startups, non-profit organizations, global businesses. Open source is that thing working behind the scenes to make sure all these things are working perfectly for everybody to use. It opens doors to so many knowledge, collaboration, and even things we can't even imagine. And yes, it is an ecosystem where everybody should be included. Whether you are a developer writing code, you are a writer, you're a UX writer, you're a designer, you're a community manager, everybody is welcome to contribute to open source. And here is one beautiful thing about open source. You don't even have to be an expert to contribute. Anybody in open source, nobody expects you to have the perfect knowledge of everything to make your own contribution. As long as you can bring your idea, share your idea, talk with people, ask questions. You are free to contribute to open source. Now let's move to the next thing on my agenda. How can designers drive innovations in open source? As I've mentioned, designers are not just parts of open source communities to improve the look and feel of the project. We can also drive innovations through these three key points: empathy, visual communication, and pattern recognition. What do I mean by empathy? Empathy in many open source communities, right? There are more technical contributors focusing on, oh, how can we optimize the code? What else can we build on this feature? How can we do this code? How can we do this, that? Well, all these things are important, but we should not outlook or even overlook the user part of all these things we are building. As a designer, we bring, we bring this empathy-driven approach to projects we contribute to by understanding the user's needs, preferences, their what's it called, their behaviors, and what they actually expect from that project. Well, a project can be good, can be perfect, can function well. But if it is not intuitive for people to understand how to go about it or even how to use it, it falls flat. And here is where designers comes in and drive innovation. When we bring our empathy-driven approach to projects, we become advocate of the users because we understand what they need deeply and how they want to use this project. So when we collaborate with other people on the team, we become advocates, right? People look up to us as the voice of the users. Also, we have visual communication. In open source projects, everybody is working from different parts of the world with different time zones. As a designer, we simplify complex ideas through visual communication. And what do I mean by that? We can simplify it by diagrams, through diagrams, sketches, prototypes, and even wireframes. All these things, we are simplifying the process and that idea to so many things on to so many people on the team to understand that, oh, this is how this idea is supposed to be conceptualized or is supposed to be visualized. This is how this is, like, we are making it easier for other people to collaborate with us on that project, simplifying the work process and understanding what exactly is needed. We also have pattern recognition. As a designer, we are trained to understand the user flow. We are trained to understand where users might be having friction, the friction points. And what do I mean by this? The places where users are having frustrations, like, oh, they can actually do this. They can actually log into the website. They can actually find their way to the website, but can they actually see other things they need to do? Can they actually do other things they need to do? As designers, we are trained to recognize all these patterns. And when we bring out these frustrations, when we bring it out to the team on the project, we are not just like telling them what the users are going through. We are also like going through them ourselves because as designers, we feel what the users are feeling. We understand what the users are feeling. So when we understand this pattern, we are not just concerned about what is being built, the technical aspect. But we are also talking about the frustrations of the users and how that thing being built is supposed to be used. And yes, we have barriers in open source and how we can overcome them. When you're starting in a new place, it's okay to feel overwhelmed. It's okay to feel, oh, are they going to accept me? How am I going to find my way here? What am I going to do? It's perfectly okay to feel overwhelmed in open source, right? Especially when you're just starting. Even the most experienced contributor at Async API committee has a place to start from. They also started from somewhere, right? So these are the barriers that even me personally have faced, and I've been able to overcome them. So if I can overcome it, so why can't you? So you can also overcome it, yes. So we have imposter syndrome. What if I'm not good enough? It's all right to feel that way. It's all right to feel, oh, you're not good enough. It's all right to feel, do I even know what I'm doing? Will people even understand what I'm doing? It's perfectly okay to feel overwhelmed. But the thing is, when you learn how to manage it, it becomes better over time. Nobody has this go to overcome imposter syndrome. Everybody is managing it because at one point or the other, you feel like, oh, am I good enough? Do I even want this thing? Do Am I even perfect to work on this thing? Am I even the perfect person to do this thing? And how can you overcome imposter syndrome in OSS? One is celebrate your win and losses. This has always worked for me. I celebrate every little things. Whether my contributions go through is successful or not, I make sure I celebrate them. Well, the failure parts hurts. We know that you're them. But when you celebrate both the right and the left, both the good and the bad, you're not just encouraging yourself. You are keeping progress. Like you are pushing yourself forward, right? Like whether you celebrate it, the win and the other part, you are pushing yourself, you are empowering yourself to do better. And another thing is track your progress. When contribute to open source communities, you can have your, as a designer, right, you can have your contributions in a Figma file or even in a journal. When you track all these things, you are keeping progress of what you have done, both the little ones and the groundbreaking ones, right? So when you do this, anytime when self-doubt creeps in, you go back to what you have done so far. It's like encourage yourself and feel like, oh, I've done this, so yes, I can do better. We also have it is okay not to know everything. Trust me, in open source, nobody expects you to know everything. Sure, we don't even expect you to be the perfect or the expert person on anything. The thing is, come, be open to learning, be open to asking questions, be open to relating to other people, be open to understanding what you want to work on. And if you don't understand, it's perfectly okay. Be open to learning and understand that it is okay. It's very, very okay for you not to know everything. Another thing here is not knowing where to start from. Oh, what issue should I pick? What issue should I pick? Where should I start from? How should I do this? How should I do that? That is also okay. With so many repositories, so many issues, it is very okay to feel overwhelmed and don't know the perfect place to start from. But the key thing here is start small. Start with a very tiny issue. There are issues on GitHub labeled good first issues, and they are also labeled like that for a very good reason. It's for you to attract new contributors, people that does not know about open source before that are coming to the community to start. So start with all those kind of issues. These issues, they don't expect you to be an expert to work on them. For example, when I started my contributions at Async API Initiative, I started by designing speaker cards for our 2022 online conference. It was a very simple issue. I just had to design speaker cards for the speakers for that conference. And that issue has opened so many doors to what I do today. From designing the design system to or designing the ASIN KPI sheet to working on this, working on that. This just that speaker card opened so many doors to opportunities and things that I do in the community and even beyond the community to today. Also, as I've mentioned, start small. Yes, don't start with groundbreaking issues. You don't have to like design the whole website or design this before you can like make your first contribution or even know where to start from. Start with a very tiny issue that does not need you to like spend so many hours on. Also ask questions, please. Everybody in open source, we are like the open source community is so welcoming for, especially as in KPI communities, trust me. The- Excuse me. There are so many people there to help you. Just ask questions. Just be open to learning. Ask questions. Don't think that, oh, I have to find this thing, I have to find this thing on my own. I have to like find the solution to this problem on my own. No, open source is collaborative for a reason. It's bringing together people from different perspectives, different knowledge, different ideas, different backgrounds. So you don't have to be an expert. You don't have to you don't have to find the solution to that problem you are working on just by yourself. You can ask questions. Yes, right? People are willingly to help you as long as you ask. But nobody will knows what you are we know what you are going through, or even if you know you need any help if you don't ask, right? Yes, we also have how to and rejection, right? The fear of rejection. It's okay to feel, will my PR get accepted? Will it not get rejected? Will they accept it? If I submit this issue, will they be able to accept it? Will they do this? Will they do that? It's okay to feel like that, but take rejection as a feedback, not a failure. And every rejection, every feedback is an opportunity for you to learn and grow and become better than you were yesterday. So don't take rejection in open source like a failure or like maybe your contribution is not worthy, is not worthy. It is not worthless, trust me. It is worthy and we appreciate every contribution. But the thing is when your issues or your PR get rejected, it's not that maybe it is not okay or it is not very good. We just need it to be better, or maybe that is not exactly want, what we wanted. Maybe we wanted something more better than that. So see rejections as feedback and not failures. Also, take feedback as an opportunity for you to learn and grow. I've mentioned that. Don't think of it as I failed. Think of it as, oh, what can I learn from this experience? What has this experience taught me? What do I take out from this experience? So don't see it as a total failure. It is not a failure. It is just a feedback. And with time, you get comfortable receiving feedback and you get to see them as feedbacks and not as failure. There is no failure in open source. Trust me. Zero to failure. There is no failure in open source. It's just feedback. Also, remember that everyone get rejected. It is okay to get rejected. It is okay to get feedback. With that, you know your strengths and weaknesses. When you get feedback on your issues, on your contributions, you know where you need to like put in more effort and make it better. Yes, the interesting part, opportunities for designers in open source. There are so many opportunities in open source, trust me. But you wouldn't know if you don't start that your first contributions. And here on my list, I have global collaboration. You get to work and collaborate with so many people from different backgrounds, different perspectives, different countries. You are working with this, you are working with that, you're collaborating with this on this issue, you're collaborating with that person on this issue. Everybody's coming together. You are getting ideas from this person is getting ideas from him. Everybody, we are all coming together towards this a single shared goal, like to make that project better for everybody, for the users to make use of it. Also, As a designer, you get to build your portfolio, right? You get to work on real world issues where you get feedbacks and not just working on dummy projects where you have to like beg people to give you feedbacks on what you're working on. With this one, you get to build your portfolio with issues that are actually solving problems. Yes, we also have career opportunities. When contributing to open source projects, there are so many opportunities for you. Building your projects, building your portfolio, collaboration, and also career opportunities. For example, in the community, at least two people have reached out to me before to work to design a project or even work on a project. And this has been like one of my major achievements in open source. Like there are so many opportunities for you. If it is not freelance, it is contract, it is a full-time employment, but there is this opportunity for you to not just build your portfolio, but also have something that brings food to the table. Yes, we also have real user feedback. I've mentioned that when explaining building your portfolio. You get feedback from real people that actually care about that project. You get to understand, as I've said, your weaknesses and strengths. You get to understand where you need to improve what you are doing and actually like how you need to do this in a more realistic and better way. Yes, also we also have paid open source projects, right? For example, we have the Async API maintainership project. There's a stipend for it, there's swag for it. There are so many opportunities. You even get to be a maintainer on a project if you are very, very serious or that on what you are doing, right? We also have outreach projects. Outreach project also pays you like a very good money. We also have the LFX paid projects. Yes, and here are the list of resources that I mentioned earlier that I've created for you to like explore later in your free time. So that will be all for my presentation. Thank you. But before that, remember to follow us on Instagram. Sorry, did I say Instagram? Remember to follow us on GitHub, on X, on LinkedIn, and also check out our tools.